That's right, I accidentally built a Selesnya Storm deck. Karametra, God of Harvest reads whenever we cast a creature spell, we can search our library for a forest or plains and put it into play tapped. It seemed innocuous enough when I pulled it out of Hyrea's bulk rare box. I was wrong. It's hard to know where to start, so here's our ramp suite first. We have over 20 cards that ramp our mana, as getting turn 3 Karametra is very important to get our game plan flowing, although turn 4 is acceptable. We have a whole host of 1 mana ramp spells, but the cards I want to see in my opening hand most are Devoted Druid, Draga Tree Speaker and Gwenna. The first can cast Karametra alone with 3 lands on turn 3, making the rest of our hand a lot more flexible. Gwenna is best on turn 2 after a mana dork, as Karametra untaps her and lets us use 2 mana immediately to play more creatures. Once Karametra is down, the other half of our ramp leads into our combo section, as every time we cast a creature, we get a land. This makes Nissa, Provisioner, Cobra and Tiller Engine incredibly strong, effectively meaning every creature we cast makes us a mana. And if we have another 1-drop to cast, of which we have 12, we can play as many as we have. If we ever double up on these effects, or have the cost reduction from Nylea or the Elder's extra land drop, we can do this for 2 mana cards as well, which makes a further 16 cards. But where do all these cards come from? It's great having the mana, but we need the cards to play. The best 2 cards in our deck for this are unplayable in most commander decks, but Whitemane Lion and Core Skyfisher are incredible here. For 2 mana, you get to search for a land and then return them to your hand to do it again. Playing a lion 3 times per turn after Karametra is often strong enough, but with one of our landfall cards, the lion reads 1 mana, search for a land, put it into play. And if we have 2 of these sources, say Cobra and Nylea, well, it's effectively 0 mana, so we can put most of the lands in our deck into play as early as turn 4.
Alright, so I'll play Whitemane Lion, trigger.
However, if we don't have one of these 2 cards, we still have a lot of ways to go through our deck. We have a ludicrously high creature count on purpose, 55, which makes Augur of Autumn, Elven Chorus and Vizier of the Menagerie over 50% to let us cast a free creature from our deck. But whenever we cast a creature, we get to shuffle our deck and give us a new look. That means between these 3 cards, if we have a few creatures in hand for when there's a land on top, it's very hard to not have something to cast. Remember, you can look as soon as you cast the spell while the creature is on the stack, and if it's a flash creature, such as Whitemane Lion, you can cast it. Or even better, if you have Vivien out, the stack can get truly ludicrous. Let's imagine you have Chorus and Vivien out. You can cast the Elvish Mystic from the top of your deck. Karametra's trigger lets you search for a land. But wait, now there's a Tiller Engine on top, so you can cast that. Karametra triggers again. There's a land on top you can't cast now, so you let 1 trigger resolve and fetch your tapped forest. Now you shuffle your deck and on top is a creature. You let the engine resolve, then you can cast a creature on top, and this can go on for a long time. That Elvish Mystic is just sat on the stack forever. If you ever played the Selesnya Knight of the Reliquary deck in Modern back in the day, this evokes the exact same feelings. Just bear in mind, if you combo this way, there is a lot of shuffling. If you play with the same people a lot, you may want to agree on some shortcut. Finally, Beast Whisperer can fill the role of letting you keep casting spells, but you have to wait to see what you draw. That was all quite complicated, so let's go simpler. Winning the game. We get a lot of triggers and lots of small creatures from this, but what do? Well, we have some conventional win conditions such as Crater Hoof and Moonshaker able to take all of those creatures and win. Scoot Swarm and Avenger of Zendikar can equally turn our landfall triggers into big wins very quickly. But from there we have some unique win conditions to this deck. Ancient Imperiosaur is a very easy 20/20, as if we spend 0 mana we still get the land. Intrepid Adversary and Ultramarines Honor Guards can be cast for cheap early in the game if we need ramp, but late game we can dump 20 mana into them and make our mana dorks lethal attackers without a Crater Hoof. Shalai can protect our cards while also serving as something to do with an abundance of mana. And our 1 board wipe of White Sun's Twilight can give us enough tokens to make a lethal infect attacks in a flash. And finally, we do have a copy of Pine Glacial Worm because we can search our deck basically whenever we want, get an extra creature cast and then search for another land, so it's as free as it's going to be in any deck. For our card advantage, you'll see a lot of creature synergy and low mana cost creatures. The Inspectors are great as we can ramp for 1 mana and then get a card when we want it, but 2 mana to draw now is still good. The sequencing can be interesting as sometimes you may want to hold creatures until after Karametra is on board. Say if I play Elvish Mystic turn 1 and my hand is Elvish Visionary and Birds of Paradise for 2 and nothing else. If you have lands to ensure you won't miss a land drop, it can sometimes be correct to hold that Visionary until turn 4 so it can ramp us. Beyond that, Sentinel is great, Tireless Tracker loves these landfall triggers, Vampire will find us easy cards, while Witness and Shigeki can help us recover combo pieces from a board wipe. Knight Errant often costs 0 mana and draws 2 cards and also a land, while Benton can help us draw cards quickly while playing the politics game. Of course, our Elvish Chorus effects are our best card advantage, but thanks to Karametra, almost all of our cards toe the line of ramp, card advantage and combo at the same time, which flows together so well. Next up is our small interaction suite. Admonition Angel can eat up a whole board or exile our own spirited companions to help recover from a board wipe. Likewise, Angel of Serenity is a pet card, but a strong one at that. You can just exile your opponent's cards, but you can also exile your own cards to protect yourself from a board wipe like Admonition Angel. For example, exiling an Eternal Witness means if the angel dies, you can get it back. It's super versatile and I'm surprised I don't see it more. Our other interaction includes Solitude that we can cast for 0 mana and still search for a land from Karametra, Mangara that makes anyone think twice about getting on our bad side, and I love playing the 2 white counter spells as nobody sees them coming. Additional ways we have to protect ourselves are 2 creatures that can protect us, and 2 0 mana ways to protect our whole board. Anything that isn't a creature comes up at an absolute premium slot, so being 0 mana helps out with that. Finally, the mana base. We have basically everything with a basic land type and 22 basics, making a Karametra combo able to let us play 28 lands, which should be enough for most situations. Notably, you may wish to leave a few in the deck for any last minute landfall triggers you may require. Scoot Swarm is great, but not if you draw it with all your lands on the battlefield. This also means if you're playing a budget mana base, you get extra basics, which means when you combo off, Karametra just finds more lands for you. Beyond that, we play a few fetches to synergize with our landfall cards further, 2 lands for card advantage, and the hideaway lands because they can easily give us a creature to cast for just 2 mana. And reset the top card of our deck for a chorus if we need to. 2 of our lands are win-cons by themselves. Emeria, whose 7 planes requirement is trivial in this deck and can get cards back with loss or grind a long game. But even stronger is Field of the Dead. Karametra can find 7 different names of lands by herself, and every creature cast comes with a free 2/2. And that's the deck. What's missing? Well, some cards I haven't got around to testing yet. Making Karametra's lands come in untapped is among the best thing we can do, so Spelunking and Amulet of Vigor might have a place, even with precious non-creature slots. Likewise, Flash makes Elven Chorus and the like much better, so some more flash cards like Yaeva or an Orrery might be justified. Finally, I do want to try Concordant Crossroads, as giving our new mana dorks haste sounds very good, especially so if we get to play a lot of cards and attack immediately. Commander decks are always evolving with each new set and ideas for old cards, so there's always something new to try. So far as cuts, the list is quite tight, but I am running a few pet cards still, so they might come on the chopping block soon, but I'll be keeping the deck list in the description up to date if you want to see. Thanks for watching. Any questions? Leave a comment.